In the roofing industry, because of the nature of it, it can be difficult to discern when you have a contractor speaking to you who sees you and your roof as a paycheck, and when you have a roofer talking to you who actually has both of your best interests in mind. This video goes over different good qualities that you can find in a contractor, to where if you identify or find any of these qualities in the person you're speaking to, you can be more sure that they're on your side. I'm Brandon Hafeli with Bill Reagan Roofing Company, and thank you so much for watching the Roofing Channel. Let's get into it. They have great communication. Throughout the roofing process, you're going to have a lot of questions that you need answered, and your roofing salesperson or the contractor that just runs the entire show is going to be your friend and your confidant. They're going to be your source of information, so they need to get back to you quickly whenever you have a question or it's an omen of bad things to come. Our general rule of thumb is that they should be responding to any questions that you ask them during their work week within 24 hours. It's not just the fact that they're communicating promptly in the first place, but also how they communicate. Under no circumstances, no matter how many questions you have, should they ever get rude or be impatient with you. They should be your friend throughout this process, not the person who's just trying to get you to shut up and make the sale. It's not just how they act, it's basic human decency. Besides that, your roofer really needs to present you with the information that you need to hear, not the information that you want to hear. Sometimes roofers are perfectly friendly and they're going to explain all the benefits and all the miracles that are going to happen once you get this roof installed. But what separates a roofer like that from a great roofer is the great roofer is going to tell you the pros and the cons that come with your materials. Lastly, for communication, they should elaborate whenever they have something that piques your interest. A very common thing is if they disagree with many other roofing experts that you're talking to on whether or not you need just a repair or a replacement, they should be able to fully elaborate and explain to you until you exactly understand why it is they think that. They'll customize your package. Every roof in every situation has a different thing going for it, so a good contractor is not going to try to box every single situation into just a couple different packages. Now, we're not saying that offering the packages is going to be bad in the first place, but what we're saying is bad is if that contractor offers absolutely no leeway when it comes to customizing that package. They should have some flexibility because there's no way you can bundle every situation into just 3 to 5 packages. When they're changing up a pre-existing package to suit your needs, or whether or not they're just creating an entirely unique package for you, they should be explaining exactly what's going to be different. The big one, of course, is how is the price going to be different? And then there are plenty of other things like, is the quality of your roof going to be the same? And are you going to get the same warranties that are offered with those other packages? They'll be transparent about your price. Even the best roofing contractors in the world with over 50 years of experience are not going to be able to give you a 100% accurate quote on your roof without breaking down all the different materials and all the labor that's going to go into it first. So, if you ever have a roofer in a first meeting who's walking up to you and telling you that you're only going to pay X amount, whatever that amount is, and they're doing so confidently and not saying that's going to change, that can be a red flag. Something to be aware of is how ballpark numbers are treated when you're giving quotes for a roof replacement. Many roofers will outright refuse to give ballpark numbers, and many of them will give those ballpark numbers. That in of itself isn't bad. It's important to understand that the roofers who don't give ballpark numbers are not worried and they're not trying to suck you deep into the process before giving you a high number and you feel like you can't back out. They're simply worried because many homeowners will hear that ballpark number and they take it to heart. They assume that that's the exact number or at least very close to it, and then they're shocked whenever they hear that the price is much higher or much lower. When it's time for the roofer to give you a 100% accurate quote, they should be able to go down the list and explain line by line all the different materials and services that you're paying for, and potentially why the price is the way it is. They should never categorize all of these different things into just one category without expounding upon each and every single line item. The main takeaway from all this is transparency. They should be able to clearly explain to you why a price is the way it is, and if they can't give you any sort of accurate quote, they should be able to explain in detail why not. They're local. This is a trait that's by no means indicative into the quality or the character of this contractor. However, for the homeowner's perspective, it's very good if you can get a contractor who's local to your community. Now, this doesn't mean that the contractor has to be in your city or even in your county, so long as they don't have to prepare to come out to your location or it's just a chore for them, that's okay. Something you can look for is if the roofs in your area have had services performed to them, then as long as those services have stood the test of time, and as long as the people who have had those services done have not had to wait a long time, that's what you're looking for. Now, something you really want to watch out for that's commonly done because those roofers know that they want to appear local is if they get a P.O. box or a satellite office that they don't actually operate out of in your area. When they're doing this, there's a good chance that those contractors could likely be hours away. The secondary reasons why you would hire a local roofing contractor are both also important. For one, they're going to understand your local codes a lot more. This applies more to those contractors who come in from out of state, usually storm chasers. And of course, you get to support and put money into your local community. They don't undercut competition. This swings back around to not what the contractor's price is, but why it is the way it is. If a contractor is much cheaper than the rest of the other roofing contractors in your area, that's not a red flag. It just means that you need to understand why it is that they're cheap. However, if the reason their price is low is because they start at an initial price and then they hear you give them a quote that another roofer gives them and then they take their price lower than the quote you told them about, that's undercutting, and that's a red flag. The reason why undercutting is such a red flag is because a reputable roofing contractor is going to have little to no wiggle room on their price, simply because that's what they need to charge in order to stay in business. A disreputable roofing contractor who can undercut means that they're trying to get the maximum amount possible out of you, and you don't want to work with somebody who considers you and your problems a paycheck. They have history and great reviews. These two qualities are great to have for any business, but they're doubly so for roofing. The reason is that many people see roofing as a lucrative business that they can get into to make a quick buck, but they quickly find out that it's very difficult to keep the doors of a roofing company open for a long period of time. The differences in the services that are provided by roofing contractors and other businesses is that roofing contractors provide things that are supposed to last for decades. If you get a long-time workmanship warranty with a roofing contractor and they're not open, they're not going to be able to follow through on that warranty, even if it's 10 or 15 years later. Of course, this goes beyond a roofing contractor simply existing for a long time. You also need to make sure that that contractor can perform their job well. And don't take our word for it. Look in their reviews, and mainly look for two positive things. You're going to look for people saying that they've had a roof for a long time and almost no issues, or issues that were fixed promptly. Or you want to look for people who have had a great recent customer experience. You also want to seek out the negative reviews about a business because that's where you're going to find out the true character of a roofing contractor. Any contractor knows that their reputation is their lifeblood, so they should be responding to all these criticisms as long as they're not just 1 star with no context. And they should be following through with them on the situation, why that person left a negative review, and potentially what has been done to solve it. Now you know more about the qualities that you can find in a contractor you're speaking to in order to figure out whether or not they're on your side. If you're having trouble finding that good roofing contractor to talk to in the first place, you can click on the link below or at the end of this video to watch our video on how to hire a good roofing contractor. I'm Brandon Hafeli with Bill Reagan Roofing Company, and thank you so much for watching the Roofing Channel. If we helped you out today, consider liking and subscribing to the Roofing Channel. It really helps us out so we can spread more helpful information to homeowners like yourself. I'll see you next time.